Hey guys, welcome to Cosplay Life. I'm Air Bear, and today we are going to be going over step 3 of the foam armor making process, which is gluing the craft foam. If you want to see the previous 2 steps, check in the description box below for a link to those videos. Other than that, if you want to see how I glued all of this together, stay tuned. Side note, I'm facing to the other side this time. Glues! So in this video, you're gonna see me using 2 glues. One of them is bar cement and the other one is contact cement. Bar cement can be purchased from Amazon online, it can be purchased from Walmart online, but there's not very many places I've seen where you can purchase it in person. I got mine from a store that specifically sells things for making props in Atlanta called The Engineering Guy. But if you don't live in Atlanta, that information is not going to help you. I've also only seen it sold in these larger containers. And so what happened with me is that it ended up going old before I could use the whole container up. And then that's why you'll see in the video, it's very yellow, it's gunky, it's lumpy, and it's difficult to use. It's not supposed to be that way. It normally starts off like the same way that the other one does. But as it gets old and it dries up, it becomes thicker and gross. So anyway, what you'll see is that I go out and I buy contact cement. Contact cement can be purchased from Home Depot or from Walmart. It's a little bit easier to get to. It also can be purchased in smaller containers, so you can use more of it up before it goes old. Now, I haven't really seen a difference in quality between the 2 glues. Like, they both seem, as far as I can tell, they seem the same. You use them the same sort of process in order to apply it and stick it and all of that stuff. The only difference is just accessibility. I find that this one is better for beginners and people who are just doing this as a hobby, because one, if you just want to go out and purchase some or you ran out of some, you can just go to Walmart or Home Depot and get some. That you have to order online, and nobody's got time for that. But also, because it comes in such a large container, the bar cement, it's kind of a bigger commitment, especially if you're not sure if you want to cosplay or if you want to make foam armor. It's a lot to buy, and then you're not going to use that much of it up unless you're making like a whole bunch of stuff. So I find that this one is better for beginners just solely because of accessibility. Glues. Also, when you're using both glues, you're going to have to use a respirator with both of them. Respirator. I think that's what this thing is called. I actually don't know. Misuse may result in sickness or death. I hope I haven't been misusing it. It doesn't say what it is though. Just what the misuse could cause. I think it's called a respirator. Another side note, in the video you may notice that the inner edges of this thing are already rounded when I glue them on. That's because I dremeled it at the end of the previous step, step 2. But we did not include that in the video because I dremeled it then, and then I go back and I glue it, and then I dremel it again later. And so we thought it would be confusing to dremel then and then show you dremeling again later, especially when we're only going over cutting, and then it's like cutting and dremeling, and then dremel again later. So we thought instead of doing all that confusion, we would just go ahead and dremel it because that's part of my design, but show you dremeling in a later step. But I went ahead and dremeled it because I wouldn't be able to dremel it after it's glued together. So I had to dremel it before I glued, but then I go back and I dremel again later. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, let's get started with the video. Let's go. The materials I use for this step are the foam pieces you cut in the previous step. This is the felt from the previous step. I brought it out, but we aren't actually gonna glue it on just yet. That will be one of the last things we do to the armor, so just ignore the felt for now. Bar cement or contact cement, a respirator, popsicle sticks, which you only need if you're using super old glue. Oh, and you don't need the Mod Podge. You use that for gluing on the felt, which we're not doing in this step. Also, I used parchment paper so that I wouldn't get my mat dirty. So to start, I previously marked where the trim would be placed. I'm going to go ahead and put some really old bar cement on this spot and on the back of the trim. Oh gosh, look at that bar cement. So horrible. Why did I keep it so long? Oh my gosh, it's the color of snot. Look at it, it's the color and the texture of snot. It's horrible. But contact cement does that too, so it's not just bar cement. But it's so difficult to use when it's in that huge can. You can't use all that. Unless like you're a professional constantly making swords and stuff. Okay, let me get back to the narration. In order for bar cement and contact cement to work, you have to put glue on both surfaces that will be touching. Then you wait until the glue loses its legginess, whatever that means. Basically, you wait until the glue is no longer wet, and you stick the two pieces together. You don't want to wait too long, otherwise it won't stick anymore. So I usually wait about 15 to 30 minutes. I decided to use that 15 to 30 minutes to drive down to Home Depot to get more glue. Okay, now that I have some good glue, I apply it to the other gauntlet. Oh my goodness, look at how much easier that is to spread. That is what contact cement is supposed to look like. Just like with the other one, I start with the trim. I didn't show it on camera, but I wait another 15 to 30 minutes, then I place the trim on the base. I do it a bunch of times, so don't worry, you will see how I do it. Oh, real quick, I numbered all the rows so that when I remove them, I know which one goes where. Then I begin removing the rows. Once I remove the scales, I begin applying contact cement to the base. Remember your respirator, if that's what it's called. You want to try to get glue only where the two pieces are going to be touching, otherwise the exposed glue may leave a weird texture on your foam. All of this will be covered in scales, so it's fine to apply it to the whole area. Let dry for 15 minutes. So while I wait, I try to use my time efficiently and go ahead and pre-glue a whole bunch of rows. As you can imagine, that took some time. Oh, and this happened a few times.
No. Please just don't stick to the things.
But other than that, it was uneventful, so we'll skip ahead. Next, I test the contact cement on the base just to make sure it's ready. Then I place the first row. One thing to know about contact cement is that once you put the pieces together, they will stick immediately and forever. Contact cement is not very forgiving. You only get one shot to get it right, so take your time. But I still have to apply glue to the front side of each of the scales where the two scalloped rows overlap. I'm applying it very carefully here because I only want contact cement where the two pieces will be glued together. For this part, I try to speed up the drying process by fanning it for about 20 seconds before I stick the pieces together. No one ever actually says to do that though. No one ever says fanning it will make it better. So anyway, I don't use it correctly. Then I line up the next row so that they are overlapping and carefully place it down. Apparently some of my rows were not right, so I had to make more rows while I waited for the glue to dry. I already did this in the previous step, so I won't show it again. Psst! Hey! If you want to see the video where I made all these scales, check out the card above or check the description box for the video. We're going to skip past me doing that and move on. Continue to carefully apply the glue. Wait, then place the row on top. I wanted the top edge of my gauntlet to be as flush as possible, so I didn't put scales all the way to the edge at the top. I just put scales only to the point where they would be covered up by the upper trim at the top. So for the upper trim, I traced where it will be placed so that I can apply glue only to that spot. And apply more glue to the back of the trim. Carefully place the trim. And that's it! So that about does it for how I glued all of this together. If you want to see the next step in the process, which is shaping, which is dremeling and heat forming it so that it forms the right shape, make sure you click subscribe and click on the notification bell so you can get a notification when we release that video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you have any comments or questions, leave that in the comment section below. Other than that, guys, I will catch you all next time. Deuces! You want to see my mermaid skirt? Let me show you my mermaid skirt. What? See, I don't have that weird stuff hanging up all over there anymore. Look at it. Oh my gosh. I say this all the time, that it's the most beautiful thing I've ever made, but I do believe that that might be the most beautiful thing I've ever made. I'm so excited about it. It's ridiculous. Just look at it. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's gonna be impossible to wear. Look at how wide it is. Oh my goodness. I haven't finished cutting it though. So yeah, once I finish this, I'm gonna put a video of how I made this because I didn't know how. And then I figured it out. Oh. All right. Bye, guys.
Meanwhile, with the barge cement, Air Bear tries a different tactic.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look. She's gonna try to tip it over, try to get more glue out. Shh, that's not gonna work. Girl, you need to go to the store, buy yourself some more glue. This is not gonna work. It's so clumpy and lumpy.